Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Art Maxing on Adobe Live. If I'm not mistaken, Adobe's only game show, which is pretty cool. I am super excited about today because we have an amazing guest. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jacob. So excited to be here.
I'm happy to have you. If you're not familiar with Art Maxing, everyone, welcome to the show again. This is a show all about artists getting points for doing what they love, either by designing or making some cool stuff or answering some fun questions. And we're going to start it off just as simple as that, answering some fun questions. But first, I want to check in with everyone. Where are you viewing in from? I see Clever in chat. Welcome, Clever. Cody. Hi, Cody. Thanks for helping us out with this stream. And Robert, again, back to back. I think this is like the fourth stream, maybe fifth stream in a row. Sean, welcome. Let us know where you're calling in from. We're me and Alex here are on Mountain Time, which is kind of fun. So over in the mountain spot, so it's a little bit of an early morning for us. But
wait, where are you located, Jacob?
I'm in Calgary.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And
I'm in Denver.
Yeah, Denver, Colorado. Beautiful. Sean from Germany. Very, very cool.
Okay.
I guess it's a different time over there. Probably the evening at this point, I would imagine. But yes, thank you for tuning into the show. Alex, do you want to let people know who you are and a little bit about yourself before we hop into our first minigame?
Yeah, so my name is Alex Piscopo. I go by Curly Q Creative. A lot of people know me as Curly Q. Some people don't even know that my name is Alex, so totally fine. If you see me out in the real world, go by Curly Q. I'm a brand designer, brand strategist, and illustrator. And yeah, I'm just super stoked to be here and be having this conversation with you, Jacob.
Stoked to have you, truly. And we have a few more people. Stian from Norway. I think we already said wow. Sean from Germany. Robert from Sweden. Clever from Texas. Sean said it's 7 over at his time. And Lucas from Brazil. Wow, we got a whole spread of countries today. That's so fun. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think this is a perfect time as ever to transition into our first segment. And this is a little warm-up round for everyone. If you're unfamiliar with the show, this is a little segment I like to call Command Z. This is a segment where we throw a random shortcut up on the board in Adobe Illustrator or whatever program you're working in. And Alex, you can guess. Of course, if someone in the chat guesses this correctly, then you will get the point as well. So you got a little bit of help. I'll definitely give you a hint if you need one, because it's a bit of a hard question, or not hard, but it's hard on the spot. So I'll go ahead and pop.
I'm gonna need some help from my crew in the comments, because Command C is like the one that is ingrained in my brain. But other than that, I'm like,
I will go ahead. Yeah, phone a friend. That is our phone a friend. Is anybody in the chat? Monica saying hi, Alex. Sweet.
Hi.
So I'm going to go ahead and throw up our shortcut on the screen. You cannot see it, Alex, but the audience can. So I'll read this out to you. The shortcut is Control Shift D. D is in dog.
Can I phone the chat?
Let's see if anybody in chat has an idea. So I'll give you a little bit of a hint, because I know, again, this is not something that's commonly used, but I think it's something that's very useful. So the hint is Control and Shift is used specifically to, most of the time, I would say in Illustrator, show or hide something with any button combination. So does anybody in chat want to guess? Sean guessed duplicate in place. Not quite. This isn't a duplicate. This is more of a... That is a good guess. That is a very good guess.
My guess.
Especially with the D. This is more of a showing a specific type of detail to your...
Is it arranging?
Not quite. Not quite. So this is specifically for showing and viewing. And it looks like people in the chat are pretty stumped too. So if we don't know, I can just let you know. Oh,
you said it was Control Shift D.
Control Shift D. We have Jeffrey Fina saying deselect. Not quite. It's a tricky one. Admittedly, it's a tricky one. So Control Shift D actually shows and hides your transparency grid. It's not what you would think. What?
writing it
Yeah,
down.
yeah, truly. Like I think it's useful for like especially if you're doing like stickers or things like that, like could be a nice little easy way to figure out where your bounding transparency box, or I guess that's not the correct word. But yeah, we're learning something new. Honestly, that's something I learned this week, so figuring
Okay,
it
we
out
love
as we
it. Let's
go.
hear
But
it.
of course, that again is just as good of a time as ever for us to transition into the actual drawing segment of
Yeah.
this show. For those unfamiliar with the drawing segment, this is called um, the drawing segment. I'm going to go ahead and throw a secret prompt up on screen for Alex. Alex can't see it, but the audience can. If Alex hits any of these objectives while designing very passively, you're going to hear this sound, which means Alex, you got a point. Alex, you probably didn't hear that sound either. The audience did, but
No.
I'll let you know. Um,
So I'm rocking with 0 points so far, right?
0 points, but don't worry. We're going to
Okay.
get points. We're going to get on the board.
Okay.
That's what the drawing segment's for. I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to, I'm just going to minimize or Command Z and switch over to us drawing. So now people should be able to see your screen. And of course, I want to let people know what you're going to be doing today, your objective, and throw some time on the clock. So your objective for today is to design a poster that empowers you. So I'll throw 30 minutes on the clock and you can just let us know what you are going to be doing. So 3, 2, 1,
Cool.
all you.
All right, got to make use of this 30 minutes. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm a brand designer, brand strategist, but recently I took like a little bit of a step back from client work. I'm still taking on clients, just being like a lot more intentional with the people that I take on. And I've pivoted a little bit and just really started diving into why I got back, like why I got into design almost a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started out with tattoo design. So I was really like sketching with like a micron and paper, just kind of doing designs for myself. And so throughout the past few months, I've really just like dove deep into kind of like illustrating and like mixing typography. And so I've actually started creating products out of that. And so I'm just going to kind of take you through like my process for creating a poster. And so, yeah, at the end of this, we'll have a poster that's completed and it's going to be available in my shop.
Yeah, something you might be able to find somewhere floating around.
Maybe.
I just want to kind of interject here really quick, not to take too much of your time away, but we do have a Discord. Cody dropped that in the chat, and you'll be able to find the links to this poster and be able to talk to me or Alex in that Discord after the show, man, anytime really. So make sure to hop over that, click that link, and yeah, Alex, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, you're taking up my time,
I'm
Jacob.
sorry, I'm sorry.
So yeah, I mean, like every artist, designer, creative, like you have to find inspiration
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so these sweethearts are something that like I've always just loved the design of.
Classic.
And Jacob, yeah, like we were talking about it, it's just like an iconic little treat, you know?
Absolutely.
And I just love that there's you could customize them in any way, colors, fonts, like the actual style of the illustration. And so I saw these at the store and I was like, okay, this would actually be really cute. I've wanted to design something like this for a while, so might as well. There's
Mm-hmm.
no better time than now. So I kind of like put compartmentalize that in my head, and then Jacob invited me to come on the show, and it just worked out. So I created this poster inspired by Sweethearts.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that we talked about this a little bit before the show, and I feel like there's so many ways to iterate on this idea. It makes it
Mm-hmm.
so fun to like see your take as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
someone else's take or another person's take or another person's take. So I think it's cool.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean that's great that you say that though, because it kind of leads me like into the ideation phase.
Hmm.
So yeah, set me up for that one. It's I feel like, we were chatting about it before we hopped on this live stream, but we're just flooded with so much like design inspiration and like incredible work from artists with social media and Pinterest and just like all of these like collective platforms that have incredible artwork. And so it can be overwhelming, like
Hmm.
very overwhelming. And so I've really been trying to like get away from just going to my phone instantly to like Pinterest or
Yeah.
Behance or something, Dribble. Um, so then it kind of leads me into my next step, which is Adobe Firefly. So once I have the inspiration for my design and like the general idea in my head, I really like to ideate in Firefly, which if you're not familiar with Firefly, you should definitely get familiar. Um, it's just an artificial intelligence platform that is not trained on artist work. And you can just like plop in prompts and it just generates a bunch of images for you. And so I'm actually going to take you
Yeah,
there.
while you're switching over, I want to hear anyone in chat. Have you used Firefly? Do you use it in your ideation process? Do you use it in your drawing process, your coloring process, anything along those lines? Because we had Sarah on here, I think for episode 1 or 2, and she actually
Mm.
showed that she uses uh, the Firefly model in Illustrator to create characters, and then like imports them
Mm.
into Fresco, and it's like it's crazy how powerful this tool is, especially
Mm.
as again a
Mm.
tool. I would love to hear if anybody else implements it in their workflow because it's an interesting one. It's definitely hard to, you know, it's hard to use multiple programs, but it's nice when the programs that you're using speak so well to each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing about Adobe products is like if you figure out a process that works for you, then these programs communicate effortlessly
Mm-hmm.
and like being able to kind of just like hop from one to another in every phase of your process is just such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And so like I use Firefly sometimes in the beginning and sometimes maybe like after my sketching phase. And yeah, I'd love to hear like how other people have been using it.
Seen a couple people in chat. Monica saying the textures I've seen people make in Firefly and put on text are cool, but I've never used it.
Ooh,
Textures is a really smart idea. And
I
Allergic
love
Bloom,
that.
great name. Used Firefly in ideation, starting to teach ethical use of AI and graphic design in FE. I think that is super important because I think
Mm,
this world that we're living in, unavoidable. AI,
mm,
like a
yeah,
steaming train. But there are ethical ways to use any tool, right?
yeah,
Ethical ways to do things. And I think we're going to see those ethical ways right now when you hop into it. So I'll stop. I'll give you some time
no, I love
to
it.
start working. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of just one of those things for me, at least. I love to ideate because again, it just like pumps out images so quickly and like it's easy for my brain to kind of just analyze a composition and be like, okay, like this entire composition might work, or maybe I'll just take like one piece from it or a few pieces from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could even like build on that. And sometimes I'll bring a few images into Illustrator or like into Adobe Fresco, which there's another program that I
I
use
love
in
Fresco.
Fresco. I mean, it's just amazing. But I love kind of like bringing Firefly images into Fresco and like using different blend modes, and then you can kind of see like how the compositions interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way to do it. But truthfully, like this was the first step in my process after realizing that I wanted to do something with the sweethearts is I kind of just jumped in here and started playing around like a handful of candy hearts laid out flat, spread out the space between them.
I'm kind of curious, like as we're going through this, like what did you like? How did you learn specifically the verbiage? Because I feel like that's the hardest part about Firefly. What helped you?
I think just like repetition
Mm-hmm.
because I'm still learning. I mean, you can see here like there's a lot, okay? This is what we started with, and this is not what I was envisioning. I was kind of envisioning something more like this,
Mm-hmm.
like laid out more like this, and then eventually like this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so like you could even like if these aren't the ones that you want, you could go, where is it? So this is awesome too. You can edit and then just open it directly into
Yeah,
Photoshop.
that's huge.
Yeah. And then you could do Gen Fill on them. And then I actually haven't tried this. I don't know if you have, Jacob.
I
I
haven't.
wanted to the video.
I've seen demos of it and it's absolutely
Mhm.
crazy. I'm kind of curious to hear if anybody in chat has messed around with the
Yeah.
generation in video. But they announced it at Adobe Max, I believe.
I don't think it was out yet though, right?
Uh-uh.
Wasn't it like it was a sneak? I think it just came out
Yeah.
like a week ago or
Yeah.
something, maybe a couple
Pretty
weeks ago.
crazy stuff, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not talking about that today, but I'd love to hear if somebody is using it and how they use it.
Yeah, worth playing around with.
Yeah, but this is the feature that I use a lot is generate similar.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was
Oh, nice.
yeah, so this was out of all of these kind of like I like the spacing between it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I still think this one is probably the most successful out of these ones for like what I'm envisioning at least. So I'm just gonna download this
Looks like
one.
Robert's popping out. Thanks for popping by, Robert. See you tomorrow for the next episode. Also, figured I'd cut in here as well to say, Alex, you earned a point. You got a secret objective point. Believe it or
Oh,
not, I'm sure the eagle eyes in the chat probably were yelling at me to give you this point already. But that the secret objective was using multiple programs, and you did that. So you
ooh.
freaking
Okay.
nailed it.
Do I get a point per program?
You know what? I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll throw another point on the board. Got 2 points on the board for each program. I
Love it. I
think it
love how you're like,
counts.
believe it or not, like you didn't think I was gonna get
No,
any.
no, 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 no. I know you're gonna get some. Don't you
Uh,
worry. There's so many other opportunities to get some points too. So you might be one of our high scorers.
we'll see. We'll see. Alrighty, so now you guys see like I took that image, just downloaded it directly to my desktop, and then I'm bringing it in here. So that's the one that we just generated from Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you guys have any questions or anything, like feel free to pop them in the chat. But like I'm just gonna move on to the next phase of
Yeah,
my process.
absolutely.
If
If
that's
anybody has
cool.
any questions about ideation or, you know, using ethical Illustrator, I would love to, I should say Illustrator, ethical Firefly, ethical AI. I
Hmm.
would love to hear your thoughts on this as well too, because it's definitely something that can get explored so deeply. But we're already at our, you know, the process that we saw that you did is like it really is just the framework, right? Like it's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to go deep into like the actual like vectoring or drawing aspect, because you are, for your process specifically, you are just pulling influence from this.
I think, yeah, influence is a really good word and just like inspiration as well, because it does boil down to like your morals as an
Mm-hmm.
artist and how you're using the programs. Because, like, if you're making something and you're just tracing it exactly, or you're copying something from Pinterest from another artist, I mean, that's on
Yeah,
you,
it can get pretty
you know?
sticky. It can be one of those
Yeah.
things that's like, you know, that we've had this conversation a few times on the show,
Hmm.
and it differs for every single person. I feel like, unfortunately, this is something that is not like black and white. It is a gray area and a sliding scale. Some artists
Yep.
are like, "Oh, you used my character, love it," like love that you
Mhm.
were inspired by me. And there's
Right.
other artists that are like, "Oh, we're drawing the same feet, I'm really
Hmm.
upset that you did this." And I think it's hard too, especially when you're in this graphic style, like especially with
Yeah.
mascots and things like that. There's
Hmm.
only so many ways things are iterated on. And there's a when you talk about
Yeah.
style, when you talk about iteration, there are
Hmm.
these details that
Mm.
make it its thing, like the rubber hose kind of cartoony style, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really is kind of up to your discretion, I think.
I think like too, you mentioned a good point is like style and like finding your unique style as an artist and like putting your phone down and not looking at Pinterest for a
Yes.
little bit, because like that's where I found myself too. I feel like as a brand designer, like a lot of us go through the phases of being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna design mascots.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's like not every designer should.
Right, right. I mean,
You know,
it's
at least not the mascots with like the big eyes, the
right.
big feet. Like
That might not
if
be your
that's your
thing.
style, yeah, if that's your style, like it makes sense. But like I think that's where it gets like sticky too, is you're trying to like be something you're not and
Yeah.
like just follow trends, I guess.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
hard too, because when you see the success of that, right? The success of the
mm,
mascot style, you can feel
right.
like you gravitate towards that. And I'm sure a lot of people in chat probably relate to this
Mm,
as well. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm seeing Monica in chat saying, I think fan art is perfectly nice and flattering, but when someone is profiting off of the original artwork without asking you to use it, I get the rage. And I agree. I think
yeah.
practice in every single art class is just draw, like, copy the people that you love, copy the people that you love. But once
Hmm.
you're providing things for clients, like, providing work for
Yeah.
clients, that's when you start getting into a situation where just things get messy, and
Mm.
They could have, you could suggest this artist to them if that's what they're looking for. Like, I can't tell you how many projects I've been on where I've worked on a project, it did not work out, and I'm like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep the deposit, but
Yeah.
please,
As you should.
reach out to this person. This person can approach this a
Yeah.
lot better than I think I would be able to. And they have Jeffrey in chat saying my Pinterest is confused. My daughter uses my account, and my boards are all adorable, cute, etc. I should branch her onto her own account. Probably. I think
Yeah.
Pinterest is still a pretty good tool to kind of get some stuff. But again, I think the mix, right? The mix of Firefly,
Mhm.
Pinterest, all these different, or just sitting down and drawing from your brain feels pretty
Right.
good.
I mean, not to dive into this too much, but like I said, I kind of took like a step back from client work at the beginning of this year just because I was very burnt out, and
Mm-hmm.
like a few of the clients that I worked with were just like not the best,
Mm-hmm.
and left me feeling kind of lost in my own style because I mean, for the last 3.5 years, I've been doing brand design work for clients, and I'm like, okay, now that I'm kind of sitting here, like not as busy, who am I as a
Right.
designer,
Right.
And so like I think this entire year, like Q1 has just been like an exploratory time for me. And it's just been really cool to kind of like create art for myself.
Moral of the story: explore, create for yourself, have fun, do fun things, because I don't feel like we get these opportunities very often. So when we do, you should grab them by both hands
Hmm.
and just go for it, because I don't know. I love designing for myself, and I don't get to do it very often. So,
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's something moving forward as well for me. Like even with client work, I'm going to prioritize.
absolutely. So we're about 15 minutes deep. So we're only halfway. So we got plenty of
Okay,
time.
cool.
Let's talk about your actual design process, because I'm seeing some fresco over here.
Little fresco moment.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So moving from Firefly, like, so you guys saw that I created this image here. And then this is like what I was envisioning in my head at first was
Mhm.
kind of like all of these individual hearts. And so like sketch those out. I thought the words like would be cute inside,
Love.
uh, separately like that. And so you can kind of see like the evolution of like how AI starts for me and then
Right.
like where it comes, how it evolves. And then there's like so many different ways to draw hearts. You don't think about it until you're drawing it, I think.
One of those simple shapes that could go a million different ways.
Yeah. And so I brought it, opened up my iPad, got into Fresco, and there's so many layers here. I mean, this is just a screenshot, but I finally decided on just like a few that I really liked. And
Hmm.
I mean, work smarter, not harder.
Right.
I was like, okay, I don't need to make 100 of these. Like I can just copy and paste, which Command C, Command V,
Nailed
copy.
it. Nailed it.
And then so yeah, from Fresco, like I'll jump back to my laptop and then I will work in Illustrator. I just
Mhm.
like Illustrator on my computer better than my iPad.
I'm kind of curious, talking about this design process because you're showing this. So do you
Mm.
redraw like 3 separate times? Do you go like sketch, or sketch, Fresco, Illustrator? Do you like sketch sometimes Fresco, sometimes Illustrator? Like what does that design process look like?
So it's pretty much the same, especially these last few months that I've just been creating for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I love to sketch it out first, and like usually I'll have a few different pages of layouts. This one I had like pretty locked in to where I kind of wanted things laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with Fresco, since it's in vector, bringing it into Illustrator, I don't have to draw it again in Illustrator. I basically just like go in and refine the lines,
Makes
smooth
sense.
them out, make sure they're not like all wonky and pointy anywhere.
Mm-hmm. I know. I
And
definitely understand that.
yeah, but Fresco is really great about like you can how like zoomed in you can go and see the like individual points on it.
100%.
So,
I am going to confide in the audience and in you for a moment. Also, hi Franco, welcome to the stream. Um, I I'm the Illustrator guy. Okay, I love Illustrator. Since I picked up Fresco, I haven't touched Illustrator in like 3 or 4 weeks outside for outlining. It's kind of
I love that
crazy.
for you.
You can draw on vectors on Fresco.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You don't even
Yep.
need Illustrator. I love Illustrator.
Yeah.
Love it for everything. But like, man, I love Fresco. I love being able to sit on the couch and design. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
It's
yes.
really nice.
Like I was using Procreate before this,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
then so like your question, how many times do you redraw this? I'd have to bring that into Illustrator and
Yeah,
then I have to trace over it. Fresco just like eliminates that, and
100%.
you can get like custom with it. It's like less I don't know what the word is. Like it doesn't really guess where you're going, I should say. It's kind of like you
Hmm.
can kind of have your own hand drawn
Feels
aspect
it
to it.
feels good, and I'm
Feels good.
very
Fresco feels good.
yeah, feels good, looks good. I'm very excited to hop into this next part of your design process because this is probably one of my favorite features of
Mm.
Illustrator and something I use very frequently. And I'm curious in the chat as we're walking through this, what programs are you using for your design flow? Fresco, Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign? Let us know. I'm curious.
I honestly use all of them. Like I use Premiere, I use After Effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the ones that I work in predominantly, I would say, are Firefly now, Fresco for sure, and Illustrator.
Absolutely. So we've
So
got
yeah,
some color applications here for what I'm seeing. Some more
yep.
iteration.
Yep. So you guys saw like I drew these in Fresco and then I have the final design here just because like it's pretty simple, so you didn't need to see me like orient
Mm-hmm,
everything and
mm-hmm.
lay it out. But bring those in, and then what I really love about Illustrator is generative recolor.
Yes, generative recolor.
If you haven't used it, definitely get familiar. I'm going to show you how to do it. So you do edit, edit colors, generative recolor.
Yes, I love this.
And yes, it's so good. I mean, especially like I feel for some reason I've struggled with like color pairings like my throughout my entire journey. Even though I
Mm-hmm,
went to design school, I took color theory. It's like just finding unique hues that match well, which I really like to use muted ones in a lot of the work that I've been doing.
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm.
this just helps like bring in the right hues. And you can I love that like they have the sample ones here, so you could kind of just choose from these, or you could just describe whatever color palette
Yeah.
you want, and then it'll generate something based on that. So like, I don't know, let's do something crazy. Neon music festival, forest, rave,
We're showing our true
disco.
colors here. Our true colors. Monica in chat saying, I use Illustrator for iPad and Procreate, but render it as a PSD file. Yes.
Mm.
I
That's
I
what
am
that's actually what I used to do, Monica. And then I
mm-hmm.
discovered Fresco.
Mm-hmm. It's very relatable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we got some pretty cool options, but I
Ooh.
mean, like, this is where we started with this green.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Already a
So I
huge
guess
change.
hmm?
Already a huge change.
Yeah, I guess something I that we should also point out is like all the elements need to be ungrouped
Right.
to my knowledge, and then they all need to be selected. So
Right.
whatever elements that you want to be recolored, they need to be selected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then again, it generates four for you, and you can like go into it. I'm not going to do it just for demo purposes, but you
Yeah.
like go in and choose each individual color. So like if you didn't like that exact blue hue,
Mm-hmm.
you could just like bump it up a little bit, make it darker if you wanted, which is great.
And you can
I
get
love the
pretty
that's super
crazy
cute.
with the prompts too, which is really, really nice. I want to see, I'm curious. Anyone in chat, do you want to throw a random prompt in for the generative recolor? Like
Let's
any
do it
phrase, any color palette
crazy.
idea. And while we're waiting for that, I do want to talk about generative recolor a little bit. One of my favorite things about generative recolor um, is, as the audience knows, if you watch our Maxi, because I don't shut up about it, but maybe some other people don't. I am a colorblind artist, so I rely entirely on vector like vector art or vector color or any like HTM like coding color, you know what I'm trying to say, but like
Mhm.
anything like that. So when it comes to generative recolor, it just feels like it's removing that step of, I say learning, but like more or less like
Mhm.
the exploration process of like, okay, I'm gonna pull
Yep.
from like these 5 different posters and
Mhm.
then try to like, you know, get things that are complementary. These they
Mm.
just work so well with complementary colors and these like neutral
Yep.
colors and all this stuff just makes it so much easier.
Definitely. I'm sure for you, yeah, just having trouble like distinguishing colors. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know there's different types of color blindness, so I'm not sure exactly which one you have, but I'm like I'm sure this helps your process immensely when you're picking
100%.
colors.
And to answer red, green, blue, and yellow, it's the worst because they're like some of my
Oh,
favorite colors. So I have to have very contrasted high
wow.
colors, which is why the show looks like it does. Monica in chat suggested bubblegum, and Sleek the Geek suggested puce, which I think is a color,
All right, let's do
or
bubble
mauve.
first
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I have one more after this. So let's do Monica's and
Yeah.
then she just said bubblegum.
Just bubblegum.
Love it. Let's see.
Ooh, I would not have expected this for bubblegum.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh. I don't know what kind of bubblegum this is.
Probably 5 gum.
Mm. Or like coffee flavor. I'm getting
Yeah.
coffee
Can
vibes.
can we
Coffee
try
gum?
one more? Because we've still got about 5 minutes, and I love this suggestion from Allergic Bloom. This is
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. They
So,
suggested a Bauhaus color scheme, which sounds
ooh.
sick.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dang. I had a poster. I thought I had it hanging up. I took screen printing in design school, and Bauhaus was like
Ooh.
one of my favorite just like periods in time for
Yes.
art.
Yes.
And I made a Bauhaus poster, and
So cool.
there are tears on it because screen printing is so hard.
Oh, I
But
mean, yeah, it's the worst. It's what I started with, like, for creation. I'm curious if it can handle
mhm.
Bauhaus. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so what did he say?
Uh,
Bauhaus.
he said, or they said, Allergic Bloom said, Bauhaus color scheme. Bauhaus.
Did you see how I spelled that? I said bow.
Hey,
Like
listen, my
like a
favorite
bow.
food.
Bow, Haus, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Color scheme, or maybe color
I don't know.
palette.
I don't know if we need a type color
Oh yeah, I'll
palette.
probably just have it. I think
I
Bauhaus is
think
one
Bauhaus.
word too.
Okay. Let's see. I'm excited.
Also, someone said for the bubble gum, it was Wrigley's gum.
Mmm. Yeah, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it's getting some funky colors though. I think
Mhm.
something different from just regular old hearts.
I almost wonder, like, obviously, Adobe and just like the AI features are improving every single day and like
Mm-hmm.
learning every single day. I feel like maybe some styles and like art periods and like time periods might be like difficult to pinpoint.
Definitely. I mean, I
Like
think
we
they
might
have
need to
their
be
own
more
thing.
specific with it.
Yeah, 100%. But I
But
mean,
I love that somebody said Bauhaus. Like
we just need to have more people typing
that's great.
Bauhaus into generative recolors so it learns what Bauhaus is.
Yeah. All right, cool, 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 cool. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, this is my final design,
Mm-hmm.
but like we came up with these so quickly. I love this one, honestly. Like
Mm-hmm.
that pop of yellow is really
It's
nice.
really nice. But I
But
do
this
love
is,
the green too, especially in your
yeah.
color palette of like you said you're trying to use a little bit more muted colors and you're trying to do some more kind of just like in I feel like it's a very palatable
Mm.
poster design, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of the posters I have on my wall, you probably can't see because it's
Mhm.
blown out because of the sun, like they're very like pop of color. But I feel like this would just
Mhm.
like slot so nicely in
Yeah.
any of these places.
Yeah, I feel like I relate to that, and that's kind of why like if you check out my website and just what I've been doing with my product work and my licensing work lately, it's pretty muted because a lot of the client work I've been doing is a little bit more vibrant and like
Mm-hmm.
pops. So I was like, I kind of want to switch it up. I also just like wear a lot of like natural muted colors as it is. So I was like, let's just channel my natural energy
I
into it,
love
you
it.
know?
I love it. And the saying, we landed on something a little different from what you
Yeah,
initially sketched up
maybe.
too, right?
I think so, yeah.
So
It
cute.
that was part of the iteration process
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. This is so sweet.
So phone case and then this cute little poster.
I love it. I love it so much. And do you source your mock-ups from anywhere specific? I know we saw like 2 episodes ago that some people were using generative, or I should say Firefly to make mock-ups, but do you source your mock-ups from like somewhere else?
Yeah, I use Envato, which is
Nice.
this is not a sponsored ad.
No, no,
I'd
no.
love for them to sponsor me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. I've been
Um,
I've been finding myself not using as many mock-ups in my work, weirdly. I've been doing a lot of like digital mock-ups, if that makes sense. Especially for like Patreon and stuff. Like it's just been more
Mhm.
of throw a drop shadow on it. But like I
Mhm.
like this presentation. I like mock-ups so much because I feel like it gives so much to.
Context.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like your style. I feel like your illustration style and like your approach to design overall, I feel like lends to a non like physical product mock-up like this. Like a
Mm.
drop shadow is so you.
I
Like the fact that you
appreciate
did,
that.
I'm like, yeah, Jacob.
I really appreciate that. And we're coming around to about 2 minutes left in our drawing time. Is there anything we want to kind of like highlight, recap towards the end here? Because I feel like we learned a lot about your iteration process and your design process in a short amount of time. I mean, that was super concise. You killed it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We did pretty good.
we crushed it. Do you want to leave us off with any other tips or anything like, of how you've gotten to the point that you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like lean into what makes you unique, what makes you special. That's not for everyone, and that's okay
Mm-hmm.
saying. Like, I really tried to just kind of channel things that make me feel different and like make my design work different. I mean, not to get like emotional or anything, but I mean, I was bullied growing up for having curly hair. And so like I've just leaned into that a lot more in the past few years, especially when I started my business. And I just feel like I've empowered myself so much by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like found my true self. Like, why am I trying to fit in somebody else's box? You know,
Make your own box.
make your own box, make your own circle. I don't know.
Absolutely. Whatever
Like,
shape you want it to be. Tesseract,
exactly. Yeah.
pyramid,
Parallelogram.
parallelogram. Absolutely.
Whatever shape.
What a
And like,
fantastic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I
yeah,
didn't mean to cut
I
you
was just
off.
gonna say, just embrace it, you know, like it's something that I tell my clients too when I'm working with them on like getting to the foundation of their brand and like what makes them stand apart from their competitors. It's like you do and like
Mm,
what you bring to the table.
absolutely. I think a lot of people are looking for the personality, the passion behind it. And what a great way to end off Design is
Hmm.
My Passions segment, because that
Woo!
was very inspiring. And I'm seeing a lot of people in chat saying that this is a great live. Curly hair is wonderful. I agree. As a 4C type hair texture, I agree. But don't leave just yet. The live is not over yet. Make sure to stick around because we're going to pop over back to us, our faces. And this is one of my favorite parts of the live stream, my favorite segments of the show. This segment is called For Future Reference. This one is all about you, Alex, and all about your experience. I have some questions for you, and we have about 20 minutes, so you can feel free to iterate on this as much as you want, like talk about it as much as you want. I think I've iterated in my head because I'm looking at it on your screen, but talk about it as
Take
much
it
as you
down.
want. Definitely expand, and I would love to hear like hop into your brain because some of this stuff dates back pretty far. So just some more opportunities to get some points on the board and tell us about you. Are you ready for those questions?
Think so. Let's do it.
Sweet. So, one of the things I love is how your Instagram is curated and branded. And what I find so interesting about your Instagram specifically compared to my Instagram or some other friends' Instagrams is you've always been curated and branded. Like I feel like you can see your style progression, you can see
Mhm.
your experience, but as you look through that curly Q design Instagram from the bottom top, it's pretty consistent. Like you've had these ideas for a long time. So, talking about the consistency, your Instagram looks like started around one of your first posts was like 2022 ish. One of your first like design esque posts. I know that you started earlier than that, but I think for specifically the
I
curly
think
Q
that's right.
design.
Hmm.
So, what was the name of the first identity you worked for that you posted on Instagram? And I can give you a hint.
Man, this is my own Instagram.
No, it's
I'm
okay. I'm
totally
reminding you of old ideas.
I'm totally one of those people. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some people who relate to this if you've been in the service industry. I'm not anymore, but like, I could remember somebody's drink order or
Mm-hmm.
food order from like a month before, but breakfast that I ate that morning, you know?
Literally. It's because you're
So,
focused on the people. You want me to give you a
mhm.
little hint?
Yeah.
It's actually a big hint, but it's a hint nonetheless.
Do it.
The initials for this company are L and L.
I feel like I've worked with so many awesome people and brands since 2022. It's genuinely so hard
We're
to think
throwing
about.
it back.
L and L.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get can I check?
Yeah. It's okay if you don't get it. Again, there's more questions and there's still more points.
Okay, I don't know if I posted about this. Was it, which would be crazy if I didn't. I've worked with two brands that are L and L. Was it Lysol and Lemonade?
You freaking nailed it, dude.
Really?
Nailed it. Yeah, it was Lysol and Lemonade. That was the
Okay.
first non-personal project that you
Mm,
posted on your Instagram. From what I saw, at least. I think there was one that was like a workout thing, but it looked like it was something that you were like involved with. But I want
mhm,
to touch on that a little bit because again, that was like maybe not your first brand identity, but that was a
mhm.
big one, right? A one that had motion graphics and had design. What how did that initial touch point come about, and like what did that process look like for you doing that brand identity for them?
Was it for Lysol and Lemonade, that
Yes.
one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was actually one of my husband's clients. He's a personal trainer.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and so they is actually a DJ.
Oh, sick.
Yep. So like a side project, like a house DJ. And it was just so fun to work on. Like I didn't really know his client that well at the time, but flash forward to now, like he's still been working with her and her boyfriend, who's a DJ. And so
Mm-hmm.
like we become friends and like it was just so cool to kind of like dive into like such a fun project for one of my first big ones, like you said,
Yeah,
and just really get to flex my creativity. You know,
absolutely.
there weren't like many restrictions, I guess. She was just very open to like my creative flow and like what I had to bring to the table for it. So yeah, it
100%.
was fun.
I mean, I've done a couple of brand identities weirdly because like I'm not a brand identity person. I am not a like mock-up person. I am 100% an illustrator, and
Drop shadow guy.
yes, drop shadow guy. And I think people gravely underestimate the work that goes into brand identities because they see something and they're like, oh, I can throw a logo on a mock-up. But it's not that simple. It's like, what is the company that you're doing it for? What are the
Mm,
applications for this product? What are the
mm,
applications for the like the branding of this company? What would fit? Like I did something for someone's like letterheading. Like they were a creative writer and
mhm.
they wanted me to do a like a logo for them. So I was like, oh, this will be cool. I found a mock-up of like a stamp, like just a stamp. They'll probably never use it, but it's like it's nice to see a little branded stamp as opposed to like, oh yeah, you're like a creative writing company. I'm gonna throw it on a t-shirt. They're not gonna use
Right.
that, right? And it's
Mhm.
hard to kind of navigate that world. And Monica said in chat that she's gonna go look up the brand work. But yeah, I mean, I think you absolutely nailed it for what it was. It feels like it has a lot of energy, especially if it's a
Mhm.
DJ. Like you want that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that was back 2022. I mean, I think I started working on that like the end of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So like even thinking back to it, I feel like it's still one of those marks that's timeless. And like
Mm-hmm.
even though I've grown a lot and I've changed my process a lot since then, like I still it's like all about embodying the owner, the business owner, and
Absolutely.
just ensuring like that their personality shines through, but also that it's like communicating with the right audience. And so just making sure it's like a blend of the two, you know?
100%. You want to empower the audience, you want to or I guess the client, you want to make
Yeah.
sure that the people that are seeing this feel good about it, that it really
Mm.
speaks to the people, the fans, right?
Yeah.
The people consuming the media.
Customers.
Exactly, the customers. Absolutely. Well, that's as good of a segment as ever to transition into our next question. So we've got 3 points on the board, already crushing it. Still
That's
got
my
like
lucky number.
three.
Yep.
Nice, nice. Well,
That
hopefully
was
we'll
my
go.
soccer number for like 18 years.
Really?
Yep.
Well, hopefully we'll go above three. I know we'll go above three. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Increments of three.
Yeah, increments of three. Perfect, perfect. So my next statement slash question is, one of my favorite things that artists do is provide resources for people. Free resources, accessible resources, mock-ups, fonts, all that. And you're no stranger to these resources. I feel like you, especially in your social media and your videos, like your short form, you provide
Mhm.
so many resources to people, so many.
Mhm.
And actually, one of your most viewed videos is you providing resources to some people. That most viewed video, of course, is a top 5 free fonts that
Mhm.
all graphic designers can use. So my question for you is, this is really hard, and I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Can
no, I
you
don't.
remember any of the names of the fonts that you featured in that video? You get a point for each font that you name. There's no wrong answers technically, so you're not going to get docked points.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is like I'm almost envisioning the photos that I used because
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what video it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I started out on Instagram, these videos were like so easy to grow with,
Yeah,
and so I just like share fonts with a photo as a background. But
it's hard. There's a billion fonts in the world that we'd be using.
yeah,
So
Citrus Gothic was that one.
Citrus Gothic. Yes, that's a point. That's a point on
I
the
use that
board.
one so much. So
Yes, Citrus Gothic was one of them. So that's 1 point, which is pretty good.
okay.
There's some really obscure names in that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna lie.
always tried to find like some crazy ones that weren't just normal. I think
Mm-hmm.
all of these were in Envato fonts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm. I luxury.
You freaking nailed it. That's another one. That's 2 points.
That's so crazy. This was years ago. It's just like the last few brain cells I feel like are just pulling this out of the ether
You're
somewhere.
killing
I'm
it
like, I
though.
don't know where this is coming from.
2 for 5. This from it's in the heart. You compartmentalize these
Yeah.
fonts. I'm curious while you're thinking in the chat, what's your favorite font? What is the font that
That's
you've
a
been using the most? For me, it's Cooper Noivre or Nouveau. Cooper
mm,
Nouveau, my favorite. But
that's a
what's
good
your
one.
favorite font in the chat? You got 3 more. 3 more guesses.
I don't know if I can pull any more out.
If not, that
That
is
might be it.
totally okay. I can let you know what I had written down.
Yeah, what else you got?
I had Goku,
Yep, that no way would that have ever.
Riley,
Okay.
and Tupac McGrath.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. So those were the
All
names that I had
right.
down. Do you have a
Those are
favorite font that
neat.
you're using right now? I know you have like your
So
iteration, like showing your process font, but maybe it's different.
back to iterations.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
font actually, it's called Sync.
Ooh,
Hmm.
love. I love it.
Yeah, it's like fun and almost like a little bit bubbly, but like still modern
Hmm.
and um kind of it just gives me like this innovative feel to it. So it's like
I
structured but fun.
I love it. I think it is very very cool. Is that so? You would say that's your favorite? Sync.
I use it a lot. It's like my primary brand font.
Gotcha, gotcha. What
And
would you
then
say like top 3?
um Bouvera is one that I just started using for
Oh,
body copy, which I really love. It's like, do you know what that one
I
is?
do. I do. I
Yeah.
love that font.
It's so, it's hard to like categorize it, but it's like kind of, it's geometric, like a little rugged.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A
I
little. We were using this word all last week. Analog. Little,
Ooh,
little
yes.
hands-on. I
Little
love it.
hands-on feel. And then there's this other one behind the 90s I really like.
Ooh, I like behind the 90s too.
Those are actually my three brand fonts that I just named.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love them. Good choices.
Mhm. Yep. Thank you.
Definitely
Thank
good
you.
choices. I have Allergic Bloom in chat saying nice differences in bold and thin variants are the fonts that they use. I agree.
Hmm.
And Monica saying our bread and butter. We all have our bread and butter fonts. I like Adobe font Zicklets. Interesting. I haven't
Zicklets.
seen
I'm writing that
Zicklets.
down, Monica.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. I'm literally typing it in right now because I want to see it.
Monica, I feel like
Ooh,
you need to find me on social media because you're dropping some good stuff in
s-
this chat.
some good
Let's
tips.
connect.
Alex Todd, good friend, and actually the person that helped design all the animation for the show. Shout out Alex
Ooh.
in the chat saying Avenir has been a nice, clean
Mm,
font. I agree. I like Avenir. I think I
a
know
lot of
Avenir because of you, Alex. So we've got one more question for you, Alex, not Alex in chat, but and that involves your portfolio, your online portfolio. Very curated, very beautiful. I really like
things.
it. Smooth. I really like anything that when you scroll, it moves. It's really nice. So if you haven't checked out Alex's portfolio, please check that out. But um, I feel like your creative process, you make it very accessible to view, right? See where your ideas came from, how you got to your endpoint. And I feel like that's really nice for
Mhm.
people working with you. So, my question is on your website, you have a little quote that I think encapsulate this thought very well. And I want you to fill in the blanks. There's 3 blanks. The quote is, "Let's create blank blank blank."
You better just rack up 3 points for me because I
Yeah,
know.
I'll give you 3
I know
points.
this one.
The increments of 3.
Something. Let's create something memorable together.
You freaking nailed it. And I can't do 3 plus 1 icons at the same time, but I'll do 1. You absolutely nailed it. That is 3 more points on the board. Yes, I want to talk about that because, like, again, I feel like it really just explains your process, explains you as a designer, and like what made you land on that, what made you kind of feel that you're creating with the person and not just like providing a product, because I think those are 2 very different things.
Yep. Yep. Good question. Thank you for hyping me up too. Everything you said is so sweet.
It's just
I'm
the
like over
truth.
here feeling so
It's
good.
just the truth. You're very talented.
I appreciate you, Jacob.
Of
Um,
course.
so I think I started thinking about things differently as opposed like from just a selling point of view. Like I'm selling this service to a client, please buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mentality and thinking on it switched to like how can we build something together that's timeless that is going to connect with your audience. So
Right.
it's more of a collaboration and less of just like a salesy approach. And I got to shout out Chris Doe for that because that man,
Mm,
he's the reason for a lot of things that goes on in my head, but like he helped me shift that thinking so much. And I mean, I'm sure that quote used to be something that was so cheesy, like, ooh, contact me and let's work together. Which like it's fine, but just I was really trying to be more intentional, like with my
absolutely.
wording. And so let's create something memorable together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it does tie more into like the collaboration side of it, you know. It's like I want to hear their thoughts and like what makes them unique, kind of tying back into that. And I have like a bunch of questions and like deep dive zooms that we go into just to like get to the bottom of their foundation. and
Absolutely.
and then it just in turn helps like figure out their desired audience. So yeah, I view my process more as like a collaboration between myself and my client and their audience.
Absolutely. And I love that. And it's so reflected in your work. And I think that is our perfect place because we've got about 2 minutes left in the show. Alex, you freaking killed it today.
Oh,
Absolutely killed it.
you
I have
killed
to,
it.
thank you. Thank you. I have to ask some final follow up questions, which of course is, did we finish the design? Of course we did. We nailed it. Did we make a mock up for the design? Of course we did. And the most important question, did you have a good time?
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I do it again.
Increments of 3. That's 3 more freaking points on the board. And we got to get your final score before we do a little bit of sign off for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and calculate your score. Go throw it up on screen. Any guesses?
0.
No. 10. 10 points. If I'm not
Wow.
mistaken, Alex, you're our highest scorer on the show. Actually, I think you've scored the highest amount of points out of anyone so far. You
That was not
nailed it.
expected.
You nailed it. You did great. And I loved it. And I loved what you designed today and what you showed us. And I just want to know, is there anywhere we can find you, or we can find this design, or maybe hook up for our viewers at home?
Yeah, so I just appreciate everybody who's tuned in, and I created a code on my website, which what we went through today, the poster, the phone case, they're on my site. And so the code is Adobe 25 and it'll be valid for 24 hours for anything on my site. If there's something you like, feel free to plop that in and you'll get 25% off.
Beautiful, beautiful. Make sure to hop over to the Discord and join the chat. If you forget that code, we'll pop it in the chat. We'll pop this design in the chat, and we'll also put Alex's website in that chat as well. Thank you so much, Alex, for being a part of the show today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in on the show. This is a really fun one. I'm not going to lie. I had a blast.
A lot of fun.
And I will see you guys next week on Art Maxing. Bye,
Woo!
guys.
Thank you guys.